The May 12th, 2026 press conference at Valdebebas will not be recorded as a response to a trophyless season. It marks the exact moment when Florentino Perez shifted from a calm person in the shadows with a lot of aura to unbelievable defiance of a club that he has been managing for the last 26 years. To understand the gravity of this emergency situation, one must understand what's going on in Madrid. Without a managerial shield following the sacking of Xabi Alonso and Arbeloa not being up to the standards that he was expected of, he was meant to be a new Zidane after Zidane kind of took over the club in a similar role. And with Kylian Mbappe facing so much scrutiny from the fan base with socios booing players, the 79-year-old Florentino Perez had enough. His response was to ignite a multi-front war. He dismissed any signs of a resignation, starting off his press conference saying, "No voy a dimitir," which means I am not going to resign. But the most calculated maneuver of his entire press conference was the announcement of early presidential elections. Don't be fooled. This was not like a democratic openness that, oh, I am doing bad, so I must step down. No, this was a calculated preemptive strike. By triggering the electoral process 3 years before it's supposed to take place, he is making sure that anyone who wants to stand for elections is gonna be unprepared in such a short time. Everyone except for him and his boards are the only ones who are going to be prepared. And that's true because being the president of Real Madrid is already a hard job. Perez has made so many changes and regulations to the presidential candidacy that it's impossible nearly. I think, if I'm not wrong, person who wants to run for the president of Real Madrid must be a club member for 20 years or something, and he has to have over 15% of the total revenue that Real Madrid generates as his own personal wealth. During the broadcast, Perez made a strategic sort of thin comment about someone like that. That man was Enrique Riquelme, a 37-year-old businessman born in Alicante, Spain, who represents the most credible threat to Florentino Perez's presidency. Riquelme is the founder and leader of Cox Energy Group, a massive global renewable energy firm with substantial operations based in Mexico. Riquelme checks all the boxes that Perez has stated in terms of who can contest for Real Madrid elections. First, he is Spanish, and second, he has been a member of the club, like a socio of the club, for over 20 years. Not just that, due to his business ventures, he can also present documents to prove that he has 15% of the net wealth that Real Madrid have generated revenue this season. So he ticks all the boxes. In fact, he even previously wanted to run in the 2021 elections but withdrew because he was not prepared to run an election campaign during Easter week, which some say was strategic from Perez to host the election campaign just around the time when everyone is expected to be on holiday. This time, it's all different. Riquelme now is preparing to present a statement that says that he has over 15% of the club's income, which should be roughly around 150 million euros at this point. And furthermore, his candidacy is backed by further players or former legends of the club like Iker Casillas, Sergio Ramos, who attend his parties and are in good touch with him. Now, these players don't have necessarily a good relationship with Perez. So can you imagine former players like Casillas and Ramos publicly backing a candidate over Perez? How will that shift the dynamic of the political elections coming up in the club? Perez is trying to frame him as an outsider, as someone who doesn't know much about the club. But if he's got the backing and he's got the money and he's got all the requirements checked in, I think Perez might be in for a rude awakening.